Welcome to our daily Afro-Media podcast, and today we are going to be tackling politics. Yeah, we're going to be talking about uh, Bobi Wine or His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi, and we are going to be looking at the the political climate in Uganda and how Bobi Wine has been influencing the political climate in the country, and with the 2021 general elections looming around the corner, we're going to see how Bobi Wine is going to impact the elections, and in the unlikely circumstance that he actually wins the presidency and the change that most Ugandans have been longing for, the main question is whether Bobi Wine can deliver the change. First and foremost, personally, I disagree with Bobi Wine a lot. I disagree with Bobi Wine on a number of issues, both ideological and policy-wise. I really think that what Bobi Wine is fronting is not, it will not uh, particularly, bring the benefits of change that Uganda needs at this time. But I want to make this clear. I really want to make this thing clear that Uganda has a number of problems. We have very many problems, and it could be an issue of governance. It could be an issue of, talk about poverty, talk about corruption. Uh, there are very many issues. The economy is in shambles. Yeah, so there is need for change. There is need for change both in governance and policies. The policies we are having right now are not, you know, they are not quite bringing the fruits that we need. So it is important that we have this change uh, put in place, and we transform the country into what our generation needs. But the question is whether the change that Ugandans need is the right change that should be is the right change that Bobi Wine can deliver. We have seen Dr. Kizza Besigye come up. Um, he has tried a number of times, 4 times. He has failed. He has also been having his policies, which I also to an extent disagree with, because let's face it, both Bobi Wine and Besigye have one thing in common. They have I'm not going to say all, but most of their policies, and this goes to particularly with Bobi Wine, most of their policies are socialist policies. So if you're to bring Bobi Wine's policies in in place, we could be having a number of we could be having bigger problems that may occur as a result of those policies. You talk about high government expenditure, increase in taxes, which very few people actually seeing high taxation to. We have a huge debt which Bobi Wine is going to inherit. We need to service that debt. So it is almost a catch-22 situation. And today we're going to be looking at Bobi Wine on whether he can deliver all what best Bobi Wine can do to make sure that what amends do we think that Bobi Wine should be doing. Well, he hasn't um, released his manifesto, but at least from the interviews he has done, from what he has been talking about, we have a clear picture of what kind of change Bobi Wine wants to bring to our country. So today I'm going to be joined by my guest. I'm going to be joined by Nobert, who will be helping me analyze this issue. Uh, I'm going to be, you know, analyzing it with him to see how best we can look at Bobo's situation and analyze it. Yeah. So I'm joined by Nobert Nwenye Siga. Hello, Nobert.
Yes, hello, Bill.
Yes, Nobert is I would call him a political analyst. He's joining us on our podcast to analyze Bobi Wine's situation. Um, no, but let me pick you on this. You've always said
Yes.
that Bobi Wine doesn't have an ideology. But I would want to ask you, from Bobi Wine's politics, what is Bobi Wine's aim? What do you think his aim is?
Well, of course, for every politician who is aspiring for a presidential seat,
Yeah?
Bobi Wine's aim is majorly becoming the president of Uganda and, of course, uh, changing Uganda to what he thinks as, what he believes in. A Uganda for everyone, a Uganda which is equal for everyone, yeah, that's basically what Bobi Wine wants.
Yeah, Bobi Wine and Dr. Kizza Besigye have always talked about change, and the whole issue of removing Museveni is bringing change to our country, and transforming the country for the better. What change do you think Bobi Wine wants to see for Uganda? What are the things what are the policies? What are the new policies? What exactly is Bobi Wine going to change in order to make the country better?
Well, first of all, Bobi Wine, of course, will change on the issue of corruption, which has been the big elephant in Uganda.
Uh,
Two, Bobi Wine will work on our democracy. That's what he has pushed for.
yeah.
Where and three, Bobi Wine will work on rule of law, whereby we shall be rules governing on the constitution of Uganda. It will be constitutional, not this other dictatorial means that we have been in. You can even imagine the coronavirus guidelines are all unconstitutional.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically that's what, and then a Uganda for all, a Uganda for everyone, equality, and then mostly Bobi Wine will work on the unemployment among the youth in Uganda.
Yeah. So on the issue of corruption, since you brought it up, currently in Uganda, we are having the IGG, we are having the State House Task Force, we are having very many say agencies that have been put in place to fight corruption. What do you think is missing that Bobi Wine will be bringing to the table, other than
Well,
creating institutions to fight corruption?
let
What
me,
is
let me,
missing?
let me tackle this with a smaller narrative.
Yes.
Let me tackle this with a smaller narrative.
Okay.
Now, one time a man was bathing in River Louise.
Okay.
And while he was bathing, he had put off all his clothes and were on the shore. Then a madman came and removed these clothes and put on the clothes of the man who was bathing in the river.
Yeah.
So when the man who was in the river got annoyed and started chasing the madman, the madman started screaming, saying, the man behind was saying, "Get that madman who is chasing me, he has taken my clothes."
Yeah.
So the madman was also telling the people, telling the person who is chasing him, who was even naked, from the river. So the people in the end started chasing the naked man, and they got the naked man and punished the naked man. So what am I trying to mean? In Uganda, we are not fighting. When we are fighting corruption, we are not fighting the real deal. We are just chasing another person, but the real person is still capturing the state, and he won't change, and he knows everything, and is just joking on our minds. You can imagine 300 billion in a supplementary budget which is classified, but then you are chasing a person of 10 billion.
So in other words, you're trying to say that the corruption that Museveni's institutions are tackling is not the heart of the problem. They are simple. They are simple cases which are on the outcasts.
Yeah, they're just on minor things. You can imagine the recent opium scandal.
Yes.
About the inflating of prices. Why arrest the permanent secretary? Why arrest so and so? And then you leave the minister the minister in charge of the office of the prime minister. Where was the minister when all this was happening? Where was the prime minister who is in charge of this office?
Yeah, so you think on the issue of corruption, it's all about empowering institutions to go for the bigger fish.
Well, that's it. And that can't be done in this current regime. That needs someone new to do that.
Well, but to take you back a little bit, we had, I think, was it in 2013, where we had the Minister of Presidency who resigned. I think it was a scandal to do with UBC. I don't know that you remember that.
Was it Margaret Mohanga?
No, not Margaret Mohanga. It was another MP. She was the Minister of Presidency. I also remember was it 1993 when Kaindo Tafi also resigned over a corruption scandal. So you can say that at least we have had in some cases where the big fish has been fished out due to corruption. He's back in government.
How many ministries has he traveled? You know how we use the justice ministry to do whatever he wanted in his constituency.
Yeah. So basically, about the issue of corruption. Do you think from your view, Bobi Wine has the potential to bring about that reform? Him as a person, other than other people like
Besigye. It's not Bobi Wine who will work as a person. When Bobi Wine takes some power,
yes,
he will make institutions. He will empower institutions.
So
the institutions will make policies. So what Bobi Wine will do is to run the institutions. So it's not Bobi Wine as an individual. It's not, no, he will run the institutions. So the major thing is to empower the institutions. So he will just be heading the institutions. And I believe Bobi Wine can do that.
Okay. That was quite optimistic. Now let's move on to the issue of rule of law. You're saying that and actually Bobi Wine has said it a number of times that there is need to revive the rule of law. Where do you think the problem is right now?
Well, of course, as I already said, the whole thing in Uganda is with Museveni.
Yes.
The reason as to why rule of law is not applicable in Uganda is because the government of Museveni has allowed such people to be above the law.
So, do you think it is an issue of Museveni as a person or the systems that are in place, not just Museveni?
It's Museveni as a person who has allowed some people to be above the law. I can give you some instances.
Okay.
Look at when Musugo attacked Catherine Bob, who was called to attend Catherine Bobgene's land probe. And when he told Catherine Bobgene, he said, "You are my student. I cannot come in front of you to answer charges. You either go to heaven or go and hang."
But I think Rukutana is now out of government.
No, he's still a state minister for labor. He's the minister for labor.
Okay.
Then there are various instances. Look at, for example, where we can also talk about various instances whereby we have army generals. Army generals come, chase away people from their land, and you have nothing to do. So the whole reason as why we have no rule of law in Uganda, why there is no constitution in Uganda, is because the current regime has allowed some people to be above the law. And the moment we elect the new leader, who will also be under the law, whereby we are all under the law. I can give an example of what happened in the US. You saw what happened in the US when Trump was impeached by the House of Commons.
Yes.
We must have a system whereby everyone is under the law, not having a system whereby we have some individuals who are above the law because they went to the bush and so on and so forth. So that's why we have no rule of law and constitution in Uganda.
So do you think in order to bring back the rule of law, is it about there are two scenarios here? Is it about empowering the courts of law more, or it is about respecting what comes from the courts of law? Because it is two-way. We have problems on both sides. We have an instance where the court gives an order and the police, which is supposed to implement it, actually ignores it. Then on the other side, we have some this main has come up from the opposition side, where they are blaming the courts for not being neutral in cases where legal cases have not gone their way. Do you think it's a two-way problem, or it's just on the issue of implementing court orders?
Well, the whole issue is whether you empower courts,
yes,
whether you implement the court orders, but as long as there are some individuals who are above the law,
okay,
even the court order will be useless. You can imagine there are some leaders who have a certain institution, who have certain arms of government who will say this order is stupid. I won't mention names.
So the issue of putting people, the issue of
my whole issue about all this is as long as we still have Museveni in power, you won't do anything about rule of law.
So the issue is first taking out Museveni out of power.
Pardon?
The issue is first removing Museveni from power.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. Now, let's talk about, let's go back to Bobi Wine in particular, about the things he has said and, from the interviews he has done about his presidency. The first issue is that it was about the issue of security. He was asked about how he was going to revive security, and if I'm to quote from him directly, he said, "I will empower police to enforce law and order, revive its criminal investigations department and the special branch for the serious investigations, pay them well."
Your network is kind of poor.
Yeah, I was saying that from, if I'm to quote from him directly, he said, "I will empower police to enforce law and order, revive its criminal investigations department and the special branch for the serious investigations, pay them well, and make sure they deliver." You've gotten that? So from what you see, from what you see from Bobi Wine's perspective on reviving the security apparatus, do you think that's the right thing to be done?
Well, I want you to compare two institutions in Uganda.
Yes.
Look at the UPDF and look at the police. Which one is more efficient?
It happens to be the UPDF from my perspective.
Very good. And that's the right thing. And you know how well those people in the UPDF are paid?
Oh, of course, I don't have their salary structures, but I think they must be paid well.
The people in the UPDF, for example, their families are guaranteed health insurance, they are well paid, they are given vehicles, they have been well catered for in this region.
So,
our people in police.
Yes. Hello? Come again? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I have not been picking you. You can talk.
I was telling about the UPDF and the police. The reason, if you have to look at how well the UPDF officers are paid, those people are well paid, they are given enough allowances when their families are catered for in the health insurance, even military barracks have hospitals. The UPDF has been well catered for, and that's why the UPDF is a very loyal force. It's both.
Yeah, so we are on the issue of security. I want to pick you up on this issue. We're having very many police cases which do not come to conclusion. I'm not going to go into details, but for police to conclude investigations of a case, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
How will Bobi Wine, what can he do based on the advice he will be given?
My own is yours. About the people above the law, I can even give you a case of Kashiga. But even the other side, my own is yours. If you want the police to deliver, then make sure that in terms of payment, they are okay and they are satisfied. That's when you get the best out of them. That's why you find police investigations are never complete. Police officers are hungry. If you bring in a bribe, they will take it. If you do this, they will take it. Even if they say police are surrounded, for example, my home and I'm not supposed to move, and I buy those officials in here that I've escaped from my home and I've gone because the police is hungry. They are in a poor state. That's why the case is insufficient delivery from the police and so on and so forth. So what we have to do if we want the best out of the police is to make sure that we tell them well and we empower them best of the is done.
Yeah, so moving on to another issue that Bobi Wine has raised, it's an issue of unemployment. And Bobi Wine has he has a very high appeal among the young people, the unemployed people. So how will Bobi Wine, because this is something that Bobi Wine has to answer even before we go to the polls. He has to give us a clear path on how he is going to put those unemployed people into work. What is the best way he can do it from what he has been saying?
Well, Bobi Wine is a member of parliament. national local content bill. Where I think since it has been passed by Parliament, it has been supported by Bobi Wine.
Yeah.
So I think this is among the laws Bobi Wine will first put in place, the national local content bill, which looks at giving Ugandans jobs first before you look at what? At the foreigners. Before you give foreigners contracts to manufacture soap, to manufacture sugar, to manufacture so on and so forth, we have Ugandans who have the brains to do that. If they are there, what has it done for them? I think this is something Bobi is going to focus on, and our employment levels will shoot high, and our economy will also boost. So if he focuses on Ugandans first.
Yes, still on that issue, you realize that in order to put Ugandans to work, which Bobi Wine wants very much, you need to be having enough, industries or businesses or factories to employ those Ugandans. But we are having an issue of Uganda's debt, which Bobi Wine has to inherit, whether he likes it or not, which is very high. I had was it today or yesterday where the state minister of finance wanted to borrow another 300 million from World Bank. Yes. So in trying to balance the two, you realize that Bobi Wine cannot avoid one issue of high taxes. He either has to raise the taxes to to get enough money to spend, or he foregoes putting people into employment by reducing taxes such that more companies can come up, because you realize the biggest hurdle for businesses starting up are high taxes. So you have to reduce those taxes to encourage people to start up factories, businesses, all that, which can employ very many people in the country and reduce the level of unemployment. While on the other side, you have a huge debt. How can you find a middle ground here?
First of all, from the economic expert, the debt is sustainable.
It is sustainable how?
That's just, it is sustainable because it has not crossed the 50%, it has not reached the red flag. Second of all, why is our debt so high? And why is it increasing so high? It is because we are borrowing from Europe and China and so forth. We bring all our debt and give them back. We bring all the money we are getting from the debt and give it to the foreigners again to be the ones to take part in the development. So in the end, it's foreign repatriation of the profit. So if Bobi Wine could borrow from the European Union, I don't discourage borrowing because the debt is good as long as it is payable and as long as it is on a good course. Bobi Wine borrows, which is inevitable, and then he empowers our local investors so that will build what in China has always been talking about, the buy Uganda, build Uganda. So that will empower Ugandans first, we give Ugandans subsidies, tax incentives, and so on and so forth, like how we have seen in America. That's when we shall empower our economy and find that we can now start on our own. We can do things of our own, and we can even reach an extent of not starting to lend money to some countries in East African community. You can imagine Uganda even now at a poor level of South Sudan. Uganda doesn't have even the power to lend money to South Sudan, just because all the money we borrow is given to the foreigners. The foreigners again take it back to develop their own countries, and more so we still have the issue of corruption. So that's why Bobi Wine has to work upon corruption first, and then the economy will be boosted. And then in the long run, our debt will be cleared. Because there was a time in, I think, 2001 or 1990 something, when the debt burden was so low. So it's possible that the debt can be reduced. But how can we do that? Let's empower Ugandan first.
Yeah. So moving swiftly on, there is an issue of which Bobi Wine has raised. He said he wanted to cut the size of government. Currently, we're having around 458 MPs and 81 ministers. Are all these 400 plus MPs, 80 plus MPs, sorry, ministers, are they necessary to to bring up an effective government? Do you support him to cut the size of government?
I support him 100%. First of all, what is the impact of creating a new district? What does that mean? Moreover, in this Uganda, whereby the economic activity is still low, it means that more taxpayers' money will be diverted to develop various areas. And more so, in Uganda, we are just creating districts for just politics. And certain majors will come and say, Mr. Mseven, I'm not winning this election, but if I could cut this area, I could make a municipality and win. That's how we are forming this stuff. So me, I believe in rejoining those districts. For example, if we can have five districts which were cut from one district, made into one, and we have, for example, in Ushenyi, if we could cut, we make a greater Ushenyi one, and then have one MP who will be very much accountable to the people, and then look at the cabinet say, ministers are just speaking the government money, too much money to put in their cars, allowances, what? If you could cut the cabinet to just 23 and the state ministers to around 40, then
so the issue here,
the ministries are interested, they can be joined together so that we can reduce expenditure in various ministries, and we can even reduce expenditure through that decentralization, and we cut our expenditure.
Yeah. Okay. So there are two more issues that we still have to tackle, very small issues. One is an issue of agriculture, and here I think I have the same mind with Bobi Wine. He talks about reviving cooperatives. So currently we don't have cooperatives. They collapsed with the coming of Museveni. Do you think how best should these cooperatives come back? Because it could, from where we stand right now, where farmers are being exploited by the buyers, and they end up selling their products at a loss price. How best can Bobi Wine bring back those cooperatives in a more successful manner? Because if he's to come, it could be very hard for him to do it successfully.
Well, about the cooperative, I think it is something very simple. Because these are things which were in place. For example, even still have cooperatives in Eastern Uganda. I don't know if you have heard of this cooperative headed by Nandala Mafari in Eastern Uganda.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
We still have our Nyankore Kweterana. So it is just a simple of learning from how the cooperative used to work in the previous years, and then revise some policies which are outdated and introducing some new policies which can now run cooperative. And then through that we shall bring back we shall reduce the unemployment rate, we shall empower more to our agriculture, and more so we shall quickly transform to industrialization. The reason I say seven cut of this cooperative system, it's because it's joining farmers together, and through this joining, it would be easy to kick him out. So I think that's why you could have removed cooperatives, but cooperatives were something essential features of Uganda. For example, now Banyakwele can even harvest coffee, and even lack where to sell the coffee, we lack the market, and the coffee just not sell, and people even start feeding on it, but only good people here in cooperative. And even have a certain thing which we can introduce. For example, you can have food banks alongside the cooperative. So that in a certain season, if we have too much, for example, meat, we can store some in the food bank, so that in a time when there would be less, we can have enough food in our country. That's what we are now facing. So we can now find we are now importing beans from Malawi to come and feed the people in Kampala. If at all we had food banks and we stored, and we now be getting from our food banks. So I support the government of cooperatives. They will create employment opportunities for Uganda. They will increase our revenue, and they will boost the agriculture sector and quickly transform it to industrialization.
Okay, that was a good analysis. So lastly, on the issue of land seems to be a very dangerous issue right now. People are dying, people can do anything, and from Bobi Wine's view, he thinks particularly on the issue of government versus people on the issue of land, whereby they want to construct a road. The person wants this amount of money. Government insists on this amount of money basing on the government value. Bobi Wine thinks that government should actually be compensating people the amount that they want, such that they should not be left disgruntled. Do you support him on that?
Well, it depends.
Mm.
When we are when they're evicting people from land, for example, to create projects like roads,
Yeah, factories, all that, investing.
all that kind of thing.
Mm.
The right valuing method should be used. We know the government has government value, it has what. So in that religion, they cannot sit down and think how to value these people according to the value of their property.
Yeah, right.
Then, for example, there are some people who may have already developed plans, but which are still in paperwork. For example, a person will come and tell you, I have a paperwork of an industry that I have in this area, which I wanted plans to put in this area. By evicting me, I will have all this will be gone. So I think such people who already have plans in what I will call in the incubator, which are almost coming out, such people should be compensated differently. If at all they are there, and they should follow the right guidance. But otherwise, people who just have their land, virgin land, they should be compensated according to various ways. The UA should value their land according to the price in that area, and if he has, for example, some crops on that land, if they can't wait for the season, they can also buy and see what would be brought out from that. So it should be a fair thing. I believe it should be a fair thing on that.
Yeah, so the issue, okay, let me pick you on the last issue as we wind up. Do you think that Bobi Wine and Besigye should be moving into a coalition? Because I don't think they really have the same policies that they want to bring onto the table. But do you think...
Well, it's not about the policy.
Okay, do you think they have more in common than their differences?
That's how it happened in Kenya when the opposition rallied in NASA, and you remember Uhuru Kenyatta lost he had to rig, and when the election petition came in and Kenyatta lost it. If it wasn't for being a shy in the by-election, Kenyatta would be no more. So I believe in a very open difference. Support and quickly we can get it better.
Yeah, so thank you for your time today, Mr. Nobert. He's a very enthusiastic man about politics and a patriotic Ugandan. That was all from today's analysis on Bobi Wine. Mr. Nobert, thank you very much, and thank you for participating in our podcast today.
Yeah, thank you for also inviting me.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was Mr. Nobert giving us an analysis into the political landscape regarding Mr. Bobi Wine, aka Robert Chagulanyi, and the time will tell whether he can really, weather the storm, as many political commentators have been referring it to. But basically, that is Mr. Bobi Wine. Personally, I think a lot still needs to be done. The sole purpose of change, it could be justified, but there are still very many questions that we need to answer about whether the change that comes after, let's say, there's change of government, whether it can be justified. That is a question that we need to first answer before anything can take place. So that was all from today on our AfriMedia podcast today. I'll leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're going to be having weekly podcasts coming up on different issues. You can also comment in the comments on the different issues we should be tackling. We go diverse. We talk sports, we talk politics, we talk lifestyle, we talk anything. Just put in your comments and we shall be tackling about it, and I'll be having more and more guests coming to our podcast to analyze and participate in these different topics that shall be having on our podcast. So thank you very much. Thank you, and Have a nice time.